So as users of the LC90 by Choyong know, the firmware has been updated, a major update, in fact, to 4.7. It brings a number of improvements to this radio, including the addition of RDS reception in FM, which is a very good development, improvement of the voice search function, and also some improvement to single sideband reception. We should recall that single sideband was not an original feature on the Choyong LC90 when it first came out. In response to requests from users and first adopters of the radio, Choyong and its main designer added the ability of the radio to tune SSB signals. So the advantage that we have now with the LC90 obviously is that the SSB tuning ability has been improved. And of course, if you're listening to something like amateur radio operators in the amateur bands, you'll be able to clarify the lower or upper sideband signals fairly well. The question is, where this actually is in terms of the quality of SSB in the radio. And I'm going to give you an example here using one of the strong religious broadcasters on 13845 kilohertz to show you, a couple things. First of all, single sideband does work, and you can zero beat a broadcast station such as this one. But the problem is that the zero beat point is still quite a bit high and low of the actual tune frequency. So in this case, 13845, we're currently on AM mode. So let's turn the volume up.
We will see that the Holy Spirit did not include the exception clause in Mark 10 or Luke 16, though Mark 2 likely portrays the same encounter as...
So ideally, and this is something that you see with Texan portables like the 990X and the H501, ideally if the radio comes from the factory fairly well aligned, zero beat on SSB can be achieved exactly on the tune frequency. So in this case, that would be 13845. And if you go into single sideband, we'll be reading 1384500. And of course, on Texan radios, you have the ability to tweak and recalibrate the single sideband so that you're really exactly on frequency. So there's no difference between lower and upper sideband. So on the LC90, even though SSB has been improved, what you see is some significant error above and below the actual displayed tune frequency in lower and upper sideband. So let me demonstrate that here.
In the light and the truth of God's
So we're going to go to, should be upper sideband to begin with. So as you see, shifting to upper sideband automatically puts the receiver into finer tuning mode increment, 13845.00, and we're going to achieve zero beat here, and you'll see what the result is. We're using the fine tuning.
Enjoy the Sower, the gospel broadcast that's delightfully different and slowly And now, here's the Sower, Michael Guido of Metro, Georgia.
All right, now we'll go to lower sideband. We have an error of 13845.21 in USB mode. Let's go over to lower sideband and see how far off the displayed frequency we are. And lower sideband reading at 13844.61, so quite a bit more difference from upper sideband when you're in LSB mode. So the summary here is first of all, the single sideband reception does appear to have slightly improved in terms of its stability. It used to be that you really, you heard a kind of a warbling when the receiver was in single sideband. And the stability, if we leave it on for a few seconds here, no, actually, correction there. So what we're seeing, if you can notice this, is the receiver still has a bit of instability in terms of being able to stay on frequency, stay on 0 beat rather, in this case in lower sideband. You can see it shifted from 13844.61 or so down to 5.9 for best audio. So now it's 1384460. Which is best clarity in 0 beat. Let's see what happens if we tune up and down again. So as you can see, now it's 13844.61. Now 6.0 again. So let's test this again. Let's go back to upper sideband and then go back to lower and see if there's what the difference is. We're going to AM and then back to upper sideband and then go back to lower sideband. Let's see.
You have room for your family and friends, for your business and pleasure, with the damn clearest thing.
Okay, so that's not so bad, 13844.61. So the good news here is that, single sideband definitely is usable, but you do have this error. The good news is that Choyong tells us that they will be providing a recalibration feature for this radio that would be similar to what you see in the Texan portables, which we have to presume would provide the ability to 0 beat and recalibrate both lower and upper sideband on the radio. So we can only hope that comes to fruition with the next firmware upgrade of the LC90. So I just wanted to give everyone that kind of picture of where SSB stands on this portable radio. The other observation I would make is that you really do have to have Wi-Fi turned off when you are tuning on the HF shortwave bands, because if you have Wi-Fi on, it really does add a lot of interference to shortwave reception. But just a quick addition on something I noticed on the LC90. When I first started using this radio, I commented that did not seem to have the well-known problem of soft muting when tuning. That's an issue that we've seen on other receivers, notably the Redicus and the Ratty 919 receiver. And, it's also seen on some other better portables like the XH Data D808. But the LC90 seemed to be fairly immune from soft muting. But I have noticed, and I don't know whether this has anything to do with the latest firmware upgrade, there is soft muting on the LC90. It's not serious. It's certainly survivable, but there is definitely soft muting. So here we're tuned to just a randomly selected 13780 kilohertz. We're going to tune up using the main tuning, which is the 5 kilohertz increment, And then we're going to show you, the soft muting as it's heard with that increment and also with the finer tuning. So we're tuning in AM mode here. So if we're tuning at fairly slow speed, again in 5 kilohertz increment, you can't really tell, but if you speed up a little bit, you can definitely hear soft muting. So again, the response there is very quick. It's actually quite quick, but you do have some soft muting when you're tuning in the 5 kilohertz increment. Let's go to fine tuning. So you saw right there 13845 using fine tuning. So you can hear the soft muting on fine tuning and in the wider increment to 5 kilohertz mode. It really is something, it's kind of minor, very minor on this receiver, but I think it's worth mentioning that it does exhibit that characteristic of soft muting. An additional observation here, the receiver now is tuned to 11725 kilohertz, which is either China, Vietnam, or Radio Free Asia, depending on which is correct in the shortwave schedule app. I wanted to show you what the radio sounds like tuned to this frequency with the Wi-Fi on and then Wi-Fi off. So currently the Wi-Fi is, I think it's on. Anyway, we're gonna switch it off if it's on, and we're gonna go and show you what it sounds like tuning above and below this frequency. For purposes of this demonstration, we have bandwidth set at 4 kilohertz. Well, we'll go to settings, check to see what position Wi-Fi is on. So Wi-Fi is off, you can see there, and we're going to turn Wi-Fi on and see how it differs in terms of reception of that station. Let's go back to shortwave. Okay, so seemingly when you listen to that, there doesn't seem to be much difference. But let me off tune slightly of 11725, and let's see what the difference is. We're going to go to just above that frequency. All right, we're going to go back to settings, and we're going to switch Wi-Fi off. And for some reason, it went automatically into single sideband. That's an interesting little aspect. So I don't know if it's noticeable to everyone out there, but I do detect slightly cleaner reception with that Wi-Fi being off on the radio when you're tuned to a shortwave frequency. So just keep that in mind. For many people, you won't really hear a difference. Personally, I do, but I think